Welcome to the Inspirational, Informational, and Transparent Aviation Careers podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about if you can start your career at 45 years old in this aviation business. But before we get started, a big shout out to those of you who've written in. Thanks so much for writing to us at feedback@aviationcareerspodcast.com, because that's actually where this comes from. And also thanks for those of you reaching out. I've been out of touch for a little while because I've been really busy. As of now, I know I've been gone for a good 4 weeks. I not only upgraded to captain, but I am now an actually Airbus flight instructor, a sim instructor. And that's what I was doing for the past month. I can do a whole episode about that, how upgrade goes and what the training's involved there, and also how to become an instructor at an airline. It's a lot of work, and you're involved for quite some time, and they pretty much own you during the training. That's at any airline. We'll probably do another episode. We've done one in the past about how to become successful at your aviation training at an airline, and we'll do another one because things have changed just a little bit. But anyway, thanks again to those also that sponsored us on our Patreon account and the sponsor of this podcast today, and that's PlainEnglishSim.com. You know, a lot of you listen to this podcast because it helps you with your aviation career, your radio calls and VFR and IFR. Well, we help people reach their goals, but helping people reach their goals is also part of PlainEnglishSim.com. PlainEnglishSim.com is an app that helps you transform your English into aviation English, both for VFR and IFR. And you know what they're doing is they're giving away 50 scholarships guides. In total, they've given away 80 over the past couple of years. And you can use the coupon code PlainEnglishSim to get your free scholarships guide. Just go to PlainEnglishSim.com and check out their product. And if you want a free scholarships guide, aviationcareerspodcast.com/free. Use that coupon code PlainEnglishSim. Anyway, on with the show. Again, thanks for your feedback at aviationcareerspodcast.com. Best way to reach us. You can also do it through the Facebook page at Aviation Careers Podcast. Let's read this email from somebody who's really interested in getting a career started at 45 years old. It says, I'm an avid listener of Aviation News Talk podcast with Max Trescott, and during this week's episode, he mentioned your name and your associated Aviation Careers podcast. I immediately jumped over to listen to one of your episodes and found myself with the impulse to reach out to you. I have spent the last year working towards my private pilot certificate, which I obtained last month. By the way, congratulations on your private pilot certificate. You're well on your way towards the aviation career, and also it's an incredible accomplishment for anybody. I really highly recommend most people get their private pilot certificate. It can help you in many ways in your life. He continues, having my private pilot certificate is something I've dreamed about for nearly 3 decades, since the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator 3.0. However, as a Doris father of 3 and the welcome recipient of a steady income, I'm interested in knowing if you have any suggestions, tips, or tricks to taking the plunge into the ATP process, airline hiring, etc. I've been excited by the prospect of a career in aviation, though I know there are things to take into consideration as well. Most people don't start this process at 45. If there's any information, hindsight, or insight you might be willing to share with me, I'd greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, I look forward to tuning into your next show and hope to hear from you. Be well. Well, first, again, congratulations on your private pilot certificate. You're well on your way. And one thing I do want to say off the bat, you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that start this career at 45 years old. But there's a few things I suggest to people that are doing a midlife, you can call that a midlife career change, career 2.0, encore career, whatever it may be. But the most important thing is to plan. You must set up a plan, that is for sure. This is something that we do. We help people with here at Aviation Careers Podcast through our career coaching. There's many other career coaches out there that can help you out move forward in your career. So let's talk a little bit about that, get a little bit more granular as to what you should do at 45 years old. It's a big difference. Talk about children, you have a house, you have all these other responsibilities that someone that's just starting out, maybe going to college, might not have. So we have to take those things into consideration. So again, going back to, you must create a plan. I've said it twice, so there's a reason for that. To create a plan, it takes a lot of different people to get involved in that plan. Number one, you, of course, you have to take control of your life. But I also highly suggest getting the family, friends, a career coach involved, somebody who's not biased in any way. So get yourself a plan together. You also have to, part of that plan is looking at your financial situation. And this can be very difficult. You need to really be honest with yourself and discover what your financial situation is. And what do I mean by that? That means actually really, digging deep into what your financial situation is by looking at your actual account balances, what you have in retirement, what you can actually use to go towards your flight training. We talk about net worth. It's what you own minus what you owe. Well, there's a little bit more to that when you're talking about a career and a career change. We have to discuss our liquid net worth, our liquid assets, things that we can actually use to be able to leverage a new career. Now, I use the word leverage on purpose, because another thing you should think about, and I know it's tough at this time in your life to want to take on more loans, but there is that possibility to look at this from the viewpoint of this is investing in my career and a career in my future. So one of the things you might want to do is kind of reach out to your family. I know maybe not share everything financially, but tell them about your plan, about thinking about moving on in your career. This may not be something you want to share with everybody, and I've said that in the past. Make sure that when you share things with people, your goals, your dreams in life, you're careful who you share those with, because there's a lot of people that may have a very negative view on this and on this aviation career and think, oh, you're nuts for starting this at 45 or 55 or 65 or whatever it may be. Interestingly, I work with a lot of people that are transitioning into an aviation career in their late 50s. So just remember, you have some runway in front of you, which is terrific. You might take a different path than the airlines, maybe not, because think about it. It takes you about 3 to maybe 10 years tops to get to a major airline, if that's what you want to do. There's many other opportunities out there in the aviation world to fly. As you can see right now, the market has changed. We're talking about a pilot shortage, et cetera. And by the way, if you want to look at my viewpoint on the pilot shortage, I did an episode about 8-9 years ago, aviationcareerspodcast.com/pilot shortage. Talks a little bit about the truth of the pilot shortage. There's always been shortages. There's been gluts. It's a cycle in this industry because it's one of those industries that's actually very susceptible to changes in the economy. And one of the things you have to look at if you are going to make this change is a long-term view. This is something you're going to do for a very long term. So again, communicate to your family. This is a team effort. Don't forget that. And when you reach out to somebody who has an unbiased opinion. I talk about a career coach. That career coach can be somebody that's within your family or within your friends, your group, your trusted group of friends. Maybe there's somebody that you've been able to, share your goals and your dreams with. That might be somebody you start with. Obviously, here at Aviation Careers Podcast, we have the coaching, and you can go to aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching. It really is something that I think is very important. I know it's very hard to reach me. I know we're booked out usually a month or two at a time. But if you truly are interested in this as a career, my other advice is don't give up. Because what's going to happen is there's going to be a downturn in the economy. There always is. And you're going to bail out maybe, just like everybody else does. And then you're going to come back in when everybody else comes in. And the thing to do whenever you're getting into any career is don't stop training until you have all the qualifications for the job that you need or that you want. And if you stop, you're just going to pause your career. And then you have to restart, and you're not getting any younger. And in the aviation world, if you want to say go to the airlines, there is a limit on how long you can fly. Right now it's 65. That could change. It changed during my career. You never know when things will change and what will change. But remember this, you have to continually move forward with both your training and also with your life and with everything else that's involved in your life, not just the aviation training, because you have responsibilities. You talk about children, you talk about other things, cars, debt, that type of thing. Also, let's talk a little bit more about financing this. Loans, there are loans out there. There's obviously the traditional credit card loan, which I normally don't tell people to use that. I like to use that like a surge tank. In other words, if you need an extra $1,000 to finish up a rating, et cetera, that's okay. But if you're going to take out large sums of money, say $65,000, $85,000 to get all your ratings done, probably not the best place to go because the interest rates are so high. There's other, and I'm not a financial advisor at all, but I'm really interested in your success. Look at all those things with your financial advisor. Ask them and say, hey, I'm looking at this as a second career, and this is my projection as far as income. So what can I do? Maybe look at some scholarships as a non-traditional student. And I've started using that term more and more. I used to call it, scholarships for adults. But remember, look for scholarships for the non-traditional student. The non-traditional student is somebody who's past actually the high school and college age. Also, it's somebody that may be a single parent. Somebody who is coming from a different country and has a much different background than most of us, who thinks that they can't apply because they're not of need involved. And one of the things we have to realize is that the scholarships are being given away to people that are passionate about aviation. So look more for those non-traditional type of scholarships and those type of loans. But in general, one of the things I really want you to do for me is make sure that you continue on with your journey and you continue to move forward with all your careers. You got your private pilot certificate. You still have a job. That may be the next thing, is say, when do I need to maybe leave the job I'm in right now? Or maybe not, maybe never. Maybe I can actually build my hours, because here's the goal. The goal is to get to your ATP. You asked about the ATP. I want you to think about this. 1,500 hours. 1,500 hours, number one goal. You want to get yourself to 1,500 hours so anybody can hire you, not just the airlines, but anybody that is requiring an ATP will hire you. So look at that as a goal. But the next thing I want you to do for the insurance for many companies down the road, and this means not just here in the U.S. where I'm based, but also down the road anywhere in the world, get 1,000 PIC turbine. Well, how do you do that? 1,000 PIC turbine, hopefully turbojet, 1,000 PIC turbojet. Well, a lot of times you go to a regional, you might go to a fractional, but look at that as your second goal. 1,500 hours, get hired by any regional, anybody that will require the ATP minimums. Then move on to 1,000 PIC turbine, and then go for that final goal, that final career goal, which may be working for the corporation of your dreams, the fractional company of your dreams. It could be something that is other than that, a little less traditional. Maybe you want to do some firefighting, etc. That all you have to define within your goals, and also as far as finances, figure out what you need to actually survive. And that's a number you need to really be honest about. Part of that financial planning. Put a plan in place. Bring a lot of people into this whole career choice and career change. People that are going to help you, career coaches, people that you trust. And make sure that you also have a certain goal in mind as far as what you want to make as a pilot, how much you need to make, and how much you want to make. It's very important to lay out those goals, and it's important to talk about money and with your family, your friends, and personally. Make sure you know exactly what you need to survive and what your family needs to survive. But I'm really excited about this. I'm excited that you've actually taken on this new career at 45 years old. I started my new career at 33. I work with people that start at 55, even 60, knowing that they don't have as much runway at the airlines as other people have, but the airlines aren't the only jobs out there. There's many other jobs in the aviation world and in flying. There's instructing and there's all sorts of neat things. Lots of fun out there as far as a job and also the ability to make money. So anyway, I appreciate the question. If you're somebody that has a question, wants it answered here on Aviation Careers Podcast, feedback at aviationcareerspodcast.com. If you're listening online, do me a favor, check out the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Aviation Careers Podcast or youtube.com/Expert Aviator. And another thing I really highly recommend is if you're somebody that's listening to this and you do so because English is maybe your second language, or you want to learn aviation English, there's a company that has an app for that, and that's plainenglishsim.com. And they're a sponsor of this podcast, and they have this really neat app that you can find there at Plain English Sim that'll help you out with two things. Number one, VFR flying. Number two, IFR flying, and it's really convenient. It's on a phone and any other portable device, and it really does help because it gets you in that mode of aviation, listening to aviation, speaking aviation. And what's really cool is that it kind of ties in with what we do here. You can just take a few minutes every day to keep moving forward in your life, in your career life, and trying to make your aviation English better. And you can do it one step at a time by using plainenglishsim.com. By the way, they're giving away a whole bunch of scholarships. So if you're one of those people looking for a non-traditional scholarship, aviationcareerspodcast.com/free, use that Plain English Sim coupon for that. But if you're somebody that is looking at a career change, maybe this is the career that you want and you're just getting started, you're 16 years old, the most important thing, and you're doing it right now, is taking that first step. And after you take that first step, the next most important thing is to continually do something every single day to move forward in your career. It could be something small. It could be listening to this podcast, watching YouTube videos, and reading magazines, going out to the airport, speaking to people that you are interested in aviation. Maybe not just a career, but in aviation in general. Buy a book, read. Do as much as you can. Just make sure that you do this for me, that you take one step today to move forward in your career and in your life, and I am sure that you will succeed. Well, folks, we'll talk to you in the next episode. Safe flying out there.